Can you give us an idea of your overriding emotions just now? Is there any worry, anxiety, or is it more...
Fire. I'm on fire. That's it, nothing else. I'm dreaming so much. I've done so much, to be in this position because I know how this club it was. I've done so much against anything that this is beauty. I just see beauty, opportunity, and yeah, I want to get it done for all these people that they've been in this journey with us. And because they deserve it, because it's been unbelievable. That's what is driving me every single day. I have zero fear. Fear I had when, if we don't get this done, this club, I don't know where it's going. That was fear. Now, there's no fear. It's just purpose, fire, direction, and conviction that we're going to do it.
Are you seeing this fire in your players?
Yes. Yes, big time. What we are trying to achieve is difficult, is challenging, is bumpy at times, and it's supposed to be like this. So you have to confront it, and what I basically said, guys, we are trying to do something, and in this competition that hasn't been done in the history of the club in 140 years. So that tells you the difficulty of that and what you guys are doing. So we value a lot where we are. We have the opportunity tomorrow to go to the semi-finals. We are competing to win the Premier League, and we're in a really strong position after 22 years without doing it. So we know the difficulty of that, but the beauty of it is that is difficult, that is challenging, and that's why we are so willing to do it.
It's 6.5 years nearly you've been here at the club. Is this the biggest, maybe the most challenging week?
The biggest opportunity of 6.5 years, yeah.
It's a massive week for them. And can you understand why he's come out so defiant? Everyone calling them, bottlers or always the bridesmaid. Can you understand his position? He's gone quite hard there. He's on fire.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because he's basically saying we're in a great position in two of the main competitions that you would want to win. You can even liken it to Rory McIlroy at the weekend, where you go, he had a 6-point lead, and then when that lead goes at the end of the third day, you're going, if you would have asked him before the tournament, would you take that going into the last day being in the lead? It's now. You go, OK, Arsenal have gone through a poor spell, but if you went to any Arsenal fan at the beginning of the season and said, would you like to be sitting top of the league with points, a good few points clear and one goal up in the Champions League ready to go into the semi-final, you absolutely snap your hand off. So it can be difficult to reset at times, but I think that's part of the reason why you've got Mikel Arteta coming out and trying to maybe take the heat off the players, pun intended, trying to take the heat off the players, where he's going, we need to embrace this opportunity. Like I said, whether there's a little bit of, is he as confident as he's maybe coming across, who knows? But they're certainly in a great position still. But the real big test, I think, comes at the weekend. I think they beat Sporting. I think they go through no problem. But the big test is City.
Who do you think comes out on top of this one?
I actually would go with a draw. I think that too many people are writing Arsenal off and think just because of the form that Man City's in, but you've got to realise, I think Arsenal are one of the best teams at stifling opposition. I would call it a draw, just because I think too many people are going with Man City anyway. Man City have certainly had their poor results this year and a few surprises. But I'm going to go a draw just to go against the grain.
You love doing that. Right, OK, so Arteta in a defiant mood ahead of what is a vital week for Arsenal's trophy ambitions this season. He was supported by Eze, who encouraged his teammates to ignore the outside noise.
I think, the boss speaks well and he's passionate, and you can see the fire that he has in his eyes and his mind, and that's been pushed around the whole training ground. Again, we know the opportunity that we have. We know what's at stake. We know what's possible, and we've got an opportunity to make history as a club. And regardless of what people say outside, it's about us here and what we're doing. And we believe massively. We have so much confidence in what we're doing. So that's been the main message: just to focus on what we're doing, focus on this feeling that we have, and letting go of all the noise outside.
obviously Eze struggled with injury a little bit, but what have you made of his time at Arsenal so far?
It's been a little bit stop-start, and I'm a huge fan of him. I think he's a major talent. I think he can bring anything to any team that he plays in. But he has been a little bit kind of stop-start, whether it be injuries, whether it be form. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think he's a great addition to the Arsenal squad. But I'm sure he'd like to have played a little bit more minutes than he has done.
In terms of what you're saying there about just focusing and blocking out the outside noise, how hard is it to do that as players when so much is at stake?
And it's a lot more difficult to do in today's climate as well, with the amount of different outlets that players can see what's being said, whether it be by experts, so-called experts, social media, fans. It's difficult to actually block it out, but I'm sure that they'll be sort of saying all the right things at the training ground. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the fella with the Arsenal bottle is not up at the training ground saying, look, that's what people are calling us. You need to make sure that we can put a stop to that, and there'll be no better way to put a stop to those silly memes going about than going to beat Man City at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Alan Smith admits that his former side have been far too cautious in attack at times this season, but hopes that the magnitude of this game on Sunday can spark a strong performance in what he says is a must-not-lose game for Arsenal.
I'm trying to persuade myself it's the kind of challenge that they need at this point. Huge game against top quality opponents. They know everybody will be watching, and that might just kind of stir them into a better performance. You know, the forward line the other day, and certainly compared with Manchester City, it's not as good. It's not as potent. I don't think there's much doubt about that. And not only that, they're not getting as many chances. So it looks even more stale and unthreatening. So do you persist with that? Do you try and release the handbrake and get the ball forward quicker, take a few more risks? They do feel risk averse at the moment. It's ominous for Arsenal. There's no doubt about it. I don't think they need an earth-shattering win, but they certainly need to do better, and they certainly can't afford to lose.
Jodie, so much talk about pressure on these Arsenal players. Do you think Mikel Arteta eases that pressure or adds to it?
With that interview, I don't know. I think the actual message in which he's trying to portray is trying to ease the pressure, trying to say that he's welcoming the pressure, wants to take the opportunity, they're in a good position. I think sometimes it can come out a little bit forced. I mean, when you're using the words "I'm on fire," they're absolutely not on fire.
You don't use that phrase a lot?
Yeah, when you're on fire. They're absolutely not on fire at the minute. I mean, they're in a great position. He's right, obviously, to win the Premier League and to win the Champions League. But the reason why there's criticism or there's people doubting Arsenal is because of the poor couple of weeks that they've had. And the worry is that they do have to face probably the team that's in form in the league at the moment, in Pep's Man City. So I get the message Mikel Arteta is trying to portray there, and you have to respect him for it, because he's come out fighting, whether there's a little bit of people can maybe see through a little bit of that. But all that matters to Arsenal and the players and the fans is if they can go out and get the job done. One of those trophies will mean a historic season for them, but neither of them, then it could mean it could be a historical season for all the wrong reasons.
In terms of this, would you rather be Arsenal with points on the board, or would you rather be in this position, you know how to win?
I'd rather be Arsenal with points on the board, but I'd rather be Pep Guardiola for what he's done previous. I would always choose to be in Arsenal's situation just purely because, like I said, they've got the points on the board. And in fairness, it isn't like Man City haven't dropped multiple points this year already. It's just that we have seen Pep and Man City gather momentum and pace at this stage of the season. But that's not to say that Arsenal haven't done that as well in previous seasons. They've just fallen short to a better Man City side. They'll be hoping that they don't do that for the 18th time, whatever it is. So that's the problem. I think the pressure is coming from the fact that they was in an amazing position for 4 trophies couple of weeks back, and they've lost some games and in a bad manner as well, and certainly games that they shouldn't have lost. Losing to Man City in a final, there's no shame in that whatsoever, but there's other games that you go, that's maybe a naughty sign.
Well, what about the 2 games that Arsenal have got this week? How many wins are they going to get?
I fancy them to beat Sporting, no problem. Like I said, I think it could end up the Champions League game against Sporting with the fact that you've got a 1-0 lead, albeit the form from Arsenal at the moment is not anything to write home about. I see them getting through Sporting, no problem. The real big test, I think, comes against City at the weekend.
OK, let's take a look at the remaining fixtures then in this run-in. OK, I want to know who's going to win the title, quite simply, Jody.
Well, I've said Arsenal for a long time now, so I'll still stick with Arsenal. But I obviously think that the game at the weekend is going to have a huge impact on the odds on who's going to do it. But again, it's been a funny season for these results that pop out of nowhere and surprise everyone. It wouldn't surprise me at all that if whoever wins the game out of Man City and Arsenal, that there isn't another twist or turn between now and the end of the season. And like you said, you're playing against teams that are fighting for European places there if you're Arsenal, and then you're playing against teams that are trying to fight relegation. And I would actually lean towards Man City's running, I think, being easier than Arsenal's. But like I said, I still think that whatever happens at the weekend, there still could be another twist or turn.